the Sunday crew. Geeking out is what we do. Giggle on, it's gonna be great. Don't be late, let's celebrate. Science fiction on a screen so bright. Old classics and the new delights. The unapologetic geek will lead the way, with facts and fun to fill your day. Discussing every detail, every frame, from the eerie to the loud and the tame. Gig along with all that's great. Those Sunday vibes you can't debate. Tug along with the Sunday crew. Geeking out is what we do. Giggle on, it's gonna be great. Don't be late, let's celebrate.
Hello. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Tug. Hi, how you doing?
From South Carolina.
Greetings from Florida.
And greetings from St. Louis.
I just heard from Chats, and he said he overslept.
Oh, okay. So he'll show up eventually. That's
we
good.
can hope.
Hope, yeah. I don't know. It depends on how long it takes him to wake up.
Yeah.
So anyway, hi. Welcome to Tug Chat. Today we're going to continue talking about Superman 3. I did a video last week. It's doing really well on my channel. So I figured we should devote an entire live stream to it. I have a lot of thoughts about this movie, but first I want to hear from our guests. I want to know what they think of Superman 3. And I'm going to start with Damien.
The actual movie or
the actual movie?
The
Just the
actual movie. I think it's a very entertaining movie. It's kind of like, you know, a bit all over the place with some really interesting ideas about what, you know, computers can do and weather satellites and such.
I love the traffic light. Like that's the one where it goes way too far.
I love the beginning of the movie where like they have the whole like comic scene of the blind guy walking the dog, and then he's anyway, everything goes wrong. You know, it's great.
I like that they knock over all the phone booths, so Superman has to improvise. Yeah.
Yep. That's funny, and just the whole idea of like the evil corporation, and then you got the computer hacker and weather satellite that can like cause hurricanes in Colombia to affect coffee prices and
right.
in the early 1980s, right? Okay, sure. Weather satellites observe weather; they don't create it. But and then supercomputers so becoming aware and all that stuff. Yeah, it's interesting. Richard Pryor did a kind of phoned it in a bit, but
kind of.
Yeah.
This is the PG version of Richard Pryor, which is definitely not as fun as the R-rated version of Richard Pryor.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But interesting movie. I hadn't seen it in years until I rewatched it for this, and it was like, it was fun, a lot more fun when I was a kid, but still, it was a fun movie. I enjoyed watching it again. So
that's kind of how I felt when I rewatched it for my review. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, saying hi to everybody in the chat. Channel member Indie Spouts, channel member Brain Bender's Banter. That's Chrissy. Channel member Sean Innes. We got a lot of channel members today.
Brain Bender's Banter.
Yes, Brain Bender's
Banter. Just call
Banter.
You Brainiac.
Sometimes we call her BBB. Yeah. And yeah, Vim, Superman 3 was released the same year as War Games. It was only like a month after it too, I think. I think War Games came out first, and then Superman just like 3 or 4 weeks later.
Era of self-aware, computers that didn't have the computing power of a digital watch,
Yeah. Nate is also here. The peanuts scene. What peanuts scene? Oh, where he's like throwing the peanuts in the bar. Yeah.
Yeah.
The evil Superman just like is like a bar fly.
I love the Leaning Tower of Pisa thing. That was fun.
Yeah, that amused me.
He straightens it out, and then in the end,
and then he fixes it. You're welcome.
And the guy's got all new statues he's got to throw away.
Anyway, so okay, Danny, what did you think of Superman 3? Because I know you rewatched it.
I rewatched all the movies. Actually, I watched Superman 1, 2, and 3.
You didn't watch 4?
No, there was a time limit.
Oh,
I
okay.
was at a family function, and I wound up, as I explained to you before, that I wound up with the wonderful job of caring for the younger people, 14 and younger, keeping them away at the family event. So that meant hours of spending time with young people. And
Right.
the best way to do that is put on movies on a big screen and make popcorn.
Mm.
And that's what I did. And we watched Superman 1 and 2. Then we broke out and had this wonderful big dinner and this singing thing with family members that was atrocious and the most irritating thing you could possibly imagine enduring. And then while the other adults reminisced and visited, me and the kids once again retired to the movie room and watched Superman 3. And I got to have the whole Superman 1, 2, and 3 experience in one day.
And what did the kids think of
Never
it?
done that.
And I, as someone who's seen the movies years ago, really enjoyed rewatching them, and it brought back just how good Superman, the first movie, was. How pretty much okay Superman 2 was, even though even the kids that I watched it with thought it might have been a little overly something. But the word might be violent, but something. And then there was Superman 3. The topic that we're talking about today, which could be on the all-time top 5 list of the biggest stinking turds ever made. Sorry.
No, don't apologize.
I thought it was atrocious. I cannot put into words to describe how dismal the nightmare of sitting through that movie is. Because I remember it being bad. But when I rewatched it, not only did I remember how bad it was, because of you pointing out stuff, I noticed how much worse it was.
That's the opposite of what I'm trying to do on this channel.
Yeah, well,
It was entertaining, at least.
now, that being my personal opinion,
No, that's actually like a very well.
and I'm being an honest person, I thought it was crap.
That's what most people
Of
think.
all 3 movies, the younger audience, 14 and younger, liked it better than any of them. And people who had never heard of Richard Pryor, after the movies were over, were Googling his name, looking up other movies of his to watch, and really enjoyed his performance way better than I did. But apparently he's still a hit with younger kids. I was mesmerizedly surprised at how much younger kids got with Richard Pryor's performance and enjoyed it and liked it so much they asked what other movies he made and why they never heard of him. I pointed them towards Stir Crazy and Bustin' Loose. That
Those
ought
are
to
good ones.
say,
Yeah, I mean, I grew up with PG Richard Pryor. Like, I had seen a little bit of his R stuff because my parents didn't care. But like, I remember growing up with movies like The Toy, Superman 3. Yeah, I loved that stuff as a kid. I think Richard Pryor, when he's doing his PG thing, is actually very kid friendly. He does speak to kids. And look, Chance finally made it. There he is.
He's alive.
Bow, 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 bow.
Oh, great.
Sorry.
He's going to give us a copyright strike right off the bat.
And now this live stream's dead.
Welcome, Chance.
Hello.
Good
everybody.
morning.
Well, I got lost on the way home from church. Yeah, that's the ticket.
Yeah, sure. Right.
Somebody gave you some synthetic kryptonite, messed you up.
Yeah.
And there it is right here.
Oh, yeah. That actually kind of looks like the like chemical that Superman uses to kill the machine.
here's a funny point for you real quick, guys. This is something I noticed with them younger kids we were talking about. While 2 or 3 of the kids had heard of Superman, the movie, the first one, 2 of them had actually seen it. None of the kids under 14 had ever saw any of the other movies,
That's so
but
weird to me.
every one of them had seen Star Wars.
Well, of course, yeah.
Of course, yeah. I mean, that's
I'm just saying that Superman and Star Wars are arguably the 2 biggest movies of the late 70s. And the fact that every kid out there has seen all the Star Wars movies, but
not
did
Superman.
never even heard of the Christopher Reeve Superman movie. Kind of.
Look at the kitty cat.
By Morris.
Look at the
Huh?
kitty cat. That's cool. Look at Damien's kitty cat.
What's up,
Sorry.
Morris?
No, I mean this is the internet. That's what you have to do when you see a cat.
Yeah.
Now, if Damien could get that cat to talk and make smart remarks, he'd get 100,000 subscribers.
And he wants me to turn my blobfish into a hecklefish. He's like in the background.
I've been trying to get my dog to do that, but all she does is.
Yeah, all he does is purr, hiss, and friggin' make fur.
I miss having cats around.
And wrap his tail around my neck and keep me warm.
I actually I bought my wife one of those it's like it looks like a real cat, but it's just all it does is sleep, and it'll purr and like you can see it breathing, but it's just a plush, basically. So I keep that around just to get a little touch of what it feels like to have a cat around, because I miss it. My son is deathly allergic. So.
Meow.
I don't have that anymore. I used to have a soundbite that was just meow, but I don't have it anymore. I lost it.
Oh.
I got to get it from Uncle Joe.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
It came from that movie. What movie was that? The Brain That Wouldn't Die. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The cat fight. 2 women start fighting in that movie, and then just randomly there's on the soundtrack up meow. So great. Anyway, yes, indie spots. I think you mentioned this in the comment section, or somebody else did, but it's definitely true. The kryptonite that was synthetic should have been red.
Well, it had tar in it, so the unknown ingredient. He's like, well, tar. Was it what's in the cigarettes?
Yeah, exactly. And Carolyn, my wife is also slightly allergic to cats, but like she kept cats around, so the exposure would give her some measure of immunity. Anyway, sorry.
That reminds me of something Kenneth Johnson, the creator of the Incredible Hulk TV version and writer, had said to me many times. He goes, "Why didn't Stan Lee have the Incredible Hulk be red? That's the color of rage. That's the color of the planet Mars." And they finally did it with Harrison Ford.
That's true. Yeah.
Red
Hulk. All true fans know that Hulk was originally gray, though.
Correct. In the only in one issue, but then they brought it back in the 80s too.
Yeah, that's true. They made Gray Hulk, like the Professor Hulk, or the like noir detective Hulk. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hulk is one of my personal favorite comic book characters. I don't think there's been a movie that's done him justice yet, but
I just want to see that new Hulk movie where there's a red Hulk.
Where Harrison Ford turns into Red Hulk.
Indiana Jones returning into the Hulk's going to be a thing.
I liked it. I saw it in the theater. Danny Staten, you'd like it, man.
I haven't got a chance to see it yet, but it's on the list of things to do.
I've heard a lot of negative things about it, but when it comes to Marvel movies, I always enjoy them. Like even the really bad ones, I still enjoy them. I think the only exception was the last Thor movie. Got way too silly for me, but other than that, I like them. I even like the Marvels, or I don't know, the other ones that people think are bad. I still like them. So
I didn't mind the Marvels. I'll say it out loud. I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it at all.
I went in expecting to hate it, and I didn't. I actually enjoyed it. I've watched it more than once.
Involving Harrison Ford, that's just inconceivable.
Yeah, I know.
Inconceivable. That reminds me of a movie I find very overrated. Princess Bride. Sorry.
Oh,
sorry, ladies.
Inconceivable.
That's where I picked that up from, that goopy little guy going, inconceivable. My favorite character in the whole
means
movie
what you
is
think it means.
the bad guy, by the way.
The Ang Lee movie is the only movie that does have Hulk punching a giant dog in the balls. So there's that.
That was interesting.
So you didn't like Ed Norton as the Hulk And
Oh, me?
David
No,
Banner, Bruce Banner.
I think
Okay.
actually of all the ones we've seen in the movies, I think his has been the closest to what the Hulk is supposed to be. Like Edward Norton was the closest to it. Unfortunately, the actor is so full of himself he couldn't do it more than once.
You know, here's the problem with that. It don't matter what. It don't matter what weenie plays Banner. People don't care about who plays Banner. They
It's
care
all about
about
Hulk,
the
yeah.
Hulk.
Yeah.
They want to see big green guy smash things. They don't care who plays the Doctor. That's just filler. I'm sorry.
My biggest claim to fame was I worked at a Marvel comic book store in Universal Studios Islands of Adventure. And,
cool.
We sold things on commission sometimes. Like we had really big ticket items, and we would sell. If we could sell those, we would get a commission off of them. And I managed to sell a $300,000 bronze Hulk statue. And that was my biggest claim to fame. I didn't get that much of a commission. It was only like a couple $100 or something. But,
That's BS.
it was
Should've
total
gotten 20,
nonsense. I was
10
mad.
20%. Should have gotten 10 to 20%. That's BS.
Yeah. Yeah, I never asked the question, how much is the commission, until after I got it. And I'm like, what the hell? That's not a commission. That's a pittance. But then again, I was like 17, 18. So I still, I blew it all on alcohol probably. I was a bad kid. I was delinquent. I mentioned that before.
Underage drinking.
I know that feeling.
I started drinking at 5. I've told that story too.
My cat is upstaging me. What's he doing?
Just being a cat. Yeah.
I remember drinking some beers when I was probably 12 or 13.
Yeah,
I remember my first cigarette. It was disgusting. You don't inhale. My cousin, my older
you didn't
cousin,
inhale, brother. I inhaled real big time, man. I was like, ooh, I like that. I was smoking ever since. My mama
did not inhale.
Yeah, Bill Clinton. I didn't inhale. I liked it though. I don't like cocaine. I just like the way it smells. That's all.
The biggest
Okay,
question,
George.
The biggest question they asked was, if you were an X-Files character, who would you be if you were an X-Files character?
Not Mulder. I think he's a putz. I don't like David Duchovny. I'm sorry.
I think no doubt Tug would probably be the Mulder character, but all three of y'all together kind of look like the Lone Gunman. But me, I have no doubt I'd be the cigarette smoking man.
I've become too much of a skeptic in my old age. I wouldn't be Mulder. I'd probably be more like Scully, just skeptical even in the face of obvious truth.
I got that dress thing, but I'm not.
Yeah, I don't look nearly as good as she does, but Anyway, back to Superman 3. I've already asked Danny and Damien. That's your name, right? I've already asked them what they think of Superman 3. So just cold call. What do you think of Superman 3, Chance?
Well, I think it had a lot of potential. I think it has a lot of things that are interesting. I like the relationship with Lana Lang, specifically with Clark Kent. I like Lana Lang a lot better than Lois Lane. Lois Lane loves the power. Agreed. She is we're a family show, so I can't say the word I would like to use about Lois Lane. I wish he had dropped her in Superman the movie from that helicopter and let her splat on the sidewalk.
Oh my gosh.
That's a little hard. Whoops. Whoopsie, I'm getting used to my powers.
Superman can't do that, man. He just can't.
I know.
That's not going to work.
I know.
She is a groupie.
The bomb.
Right.
Annette O'Toole looks so pretty, but I really liked Pamela Stevenson as the
Lorelei.
You could say she's Miss Tessmacher part 2, if you will. Like they had kind of the sidekick of the villain, played by Robert Vaughn from The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I think the scenes with her were great. I love the Clark versus evil Superman fight scene in the junkyard. That was one of the first scenes shot.
One of the best fight scenes in a Superman movie. I'll give it that right there.
It's one of the best ones in any Superman movie.
Yeah, it is by far. Yeah.
And I like the soundtrack, the theme. Actually, now nothing beats the John Williams original, but I like Ken Thorne. I think he'd mastered the adaptation of the John Williams source material of the music. I really like the version of the end titles musically and of the graphics, the way that the credits came at you in a 3D type effect. I thought
I even like how the closing credits did it too. was pretty neat.
The closing specifically, yes.
Yeah.
Now they screwed up. I like the extended version because you actually saw a traditional opening credit scene and not that stupid credit superimposed over that screwball comedy. That's the downside. I didn't like the what is it, slapstick, the slapstick opening of Superman 3. But to the good, I liked a lot. Of course, Vera Robot. That moment, that's the fembot moment. I'm a little bit older than you, so that's my fembot moment. Fembots were my terror. For people in your generation, the millennials, I think the Vera Robot really stuck out in a lot of
dare you, sir?
children's minds.
Yeah,
With that,
they ain't no millennials here, man.
We are Gen Xers. God dang it.
Yes, thank you.
oh, okay, good. I thought you were like on the cusp. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, we're on the cusp, but we do not own millennials.
You know, I never
depends.
There
did
you go.
trust them.
Yeah, it
Yes,
depends
I
on
never
which
did trust-
definition of millennial you go by, because it's like it used to be 1983 or 1984 was where you would be a millennial, but then they changed it to 1980. I've seen some people say as even late 70s. I mean, I'm a late 70s baby.
Yeah, we're
I
late
am
70s.
definitely a Gen Xer, not a millennial. So,
And what do you think
might
about?
call me a Zennial if you want, but
I
that's kind
like
of like
Speaking
in
of Robert
between.
Vaughn.
So
What do you
Yeah.
think though of like I know people born in 1966 that really behave like boomers, but they're Gen Xers technically. And 66 is the first year of the Gen X. I don't know if I buy that. It should
I
be
think
like
That's a
1970.
little early for me. Yeah.
I think most
Yeah.
early Xers
Right,
are more
Gen
like
X.
boomers, but anyway.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
most late Xers are kind of like millennials. So
The
it's
proof
kinda
is
like,
it's just everybody wants to be
Yeah.
X. That's all it is.
Yeah. yeah.
And you probably touched on this, about Margot Kidder pretty much getting written out of Superman 3 because of her behavior, talking about she missed Richard Donner. The producers got mad, allegedly. So they had her going to Bermuda. She's in the bookends of the movie, pretty much. But Annette O'Toole is a shining spot. I'll wait till it gets back to my turn. I'm over talking here, but I have a lot of good to talk about Superman 3. I think it's bashed unfairly. But it is it's not a great Superman movie. Let's be honest. Let's not be in denial here, but it's got some good moments. And Richard Pryor, I thought, was hysterical, especially in the extended scenes.
No, I mean that's why I have both Chance and Dan here because I got the positive and the negative.
I will point out the fact that most children under 14.
Hi,
agree.
Sarah.
What's up, Sarah?
The children under 14 tend to agree with Chance and really enjoy the movie and think Richard Pryor is a comical genius. But also the French like Jerry Lewis, so there's no accounting for taste.
How do you like my Superman shirt?
I
this
love
New-
it.
New York
Love it.
City,
Fantastic.
because I want it to be dark like the evil Superman.
The evil Superman, yeah, full black.
Oh,
but then you got to grow out a
I
mullet.
wore a
you know?
Superman shirt. I got one back there somewhere.
Oh, cool. It's like more like Jor-El, though.
Wait a
I guess.
minute,
Jor-El
wait a minute,
color.
wait a minute. Batman killed him. I should have worn the Batman shirt.
That's a big ass. I said big ass, not big.
Yeah, I got it.
That's a damn big ass. You got a big ass. Sorry.
I want to go ahead and go back to the Margot Kidder point because I want to say it on the record. I don't buy Ilya Salkind for one iota of a second. Margot Kidder was absolutely written out of the movie. Like I don't care what anybody says. Even Margot Kidder denies that happened, but obviously it happened. We all know it happened.
Yeah.
Can't deny nothing no more.
I read that article. Of course they wrote her out of the movie.
They
They wrote her out of the movie from that first draft for Superman.
Yeah, I
3.
know.
She was written out in that one too.
She's written
so-
out in like the first sentence.
They should have wrote her
Yeah.
out the first one before they started filming and used a different actress, if you're going to know the truth about it.
Yeah.
But I think that is a shame because like I said in my video, I do think it would be interesting to have kind of a romantic triangle where like Lois Lane is in love with Superman and Lana is in love with Clark Kent, and
Mhm.
seeing how that would play out with all the
Yeah.
characters there.
If you want to see how it played out, you got to watch the latest Superman show that just ended. And
Oh, yeah.
It kind of played out there. And Lana married this other guy. Everybody had kids. Well, whatever.
Yeah, I haven't seen
Smallville
it
kind
yet.
of did that on TV, but that's a great point, Eric. Tug. Three's Company was still on the air at that time when it was shot in 1982 and when it was released in 83. Can I quickly? I remember my older cousins I talked about earlier. We were going to go to the movies, right? And they're up in Boston, and everyone wanted to see War Games. Said, "No, let's see Superman 3. Superman 3's playing." we wound up seeing War Games, and I liked War Games,
War
but
Games
I
is great,
remember
man.
I lost that battle. They said, no, we're not seeing that stupid Superman 3. I heard it's garbage. Hey, and to the good, I love the scene with Clark helping little Ricky win that bowling match.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
That was a cool little effect too. Free CGI. Yeah. Two. Boom. I love that.
Blows the pins apart.
This is so great.
That was cool.
Oh, and the annoying friggin' who is it? Gavin Harley or whatever.
Hurley.
Or Hurley,
I had to
whatever.
practice that a few times.
Yeah. The I peaked in high school guy.
Yeah. We all know that guy.
Yeah, we all know that guy. Him always trying to like butt in on everything. It's just great having him get kind of put in his place there a few times in that movie. So.
He had some great lines too, and I like his dad. His dad was in Halloween 3 that same year, wasn't that a 1983 release?
That was also the same
As
year.
Cochran. I love that
third.
movie. I think that movie gets trashed, and I thought it was that's another topic.
It has found new legs. Like I think people have rediscovered it in recent years. Like I see on YouTube a lot of people talking it up, like talking about how good Halloween 3 is. I think it has recovered its reputation.
And he was just in his dad in an Alfred Hitchcock Hour I saw on MeTV. I'd never seen it before. It was great. I'm really blasted off to another topic now, so I'll just save it
before we wrap it back in. If we're gonna talk about Dan O'Hurley, I gotta mention The Last Starfighter. He is
there you go.
I like that movie a lot.
It took me years to even realize it was the same guy
That makeup was
because
incredible.
he's completely covered head to toe.
Completely.
And Return of the Jedi.
And Brad, to your point, Damien, he was one of the actors who played the Lost Cunningham in Happy Days.
Right, Happy Days.
Chuck.
He was the
Right,
brother. Yeah. One of them.
One of the Chucks. Yeah. Up Chuck.
He was actually in a lot of movies that he was pretty good in too. So,
but I did like, Richard Pryor. He only had a couple of good scenes, but I did like him playing drunk. That was funny, especially when you're a kid. That's like kind of a kid's perception of drunkenness, And
There's no vodka in it. Yeah.
And I also like when he's doing the whole general thing. I mean, it's completely over the top and cartoonish, but it's a comic book movie. I think that's appropriate.
Have you heard the extended scenes of that scene where he's the general? He's bashing Arabs and stuff. It's
He goes full Richard Pryor.
Arab. Yeah. God.
Indy would like to ask you a trivia question, Chance. Who was the other one? The other actor who played the Cunningham?
Oh, I forgot his name. I know. Let us know in the chat. I know you know, and I won't come up with it in time.
Indy will tell us in a minute, I'm sure.
Yeah. I can see the face.
Dave Sunstorm was here. He would know for sure.
Yeah, man. Dave knows. I'm sure he
Dave
knows.
loves Happy Days.
But Dave's not here, man.
Dave's
not here. I used to call it Crappy Days. Remember, it was called Happy Days Again in syndication, and they put. You remember that, Dan?
I remember that.
Happy Days Again, just like Chips was Chips Patrol in syndication.
Oh yeah, I remember that too.
I have a film print with it has that Chips Patrol in there. Anyway, whatever.
They showed him that way in the early days of Nick at Night. Yeah. They showed him as the Chips Patrol and the Happy Days Again. Yeah.
And TBS would sometimes have a random Happy Days Again print. And I was, is this Happy Days Again? I see it. It was like one or two still had the syndicator Paramount sent them like old copies or something, like 2 episodes.
So anyway, one of the other things I really wanted to talk about on this live stream was the story outline that Ilya Salkind wrote for Superman 3 before they decided on what they were going to do, before Richard Pryor was involved. This was Ilya Salkind's bright idea of what a Superman 3 should look like. And rather than just explain it to you, I think I'm just going to start reading parts of it for you because it's completely insane.
That's an understatement.
So like we said earlier, right off
Everywhere.
the bat, within the first couple of sentences, the story could start with a pre-title sequence showing Clark learning that Lois Lane has asked to be transferred to a correspondent to one of the foreign offices located within the Daily Planet, like Hong Kong. Like, what purpose does this serve other than just a screw you to Margot Kidder? I mean, honestly.
Yeah, really. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Like he says, we could have a letter and she could read it. Obviously, that'd be fine. This leaves Clark obviously very distraught, and as we all know, that he is Superman Clark who loves Lois. Yeah, okay. We introduce again Perry White and Jimmy, who try to cheer Clark up. They would be telling him a bit more why she was so fed up. We could possibly, at this point, introduce Lana Lang as the new star reporter at the Daily Planet. I mean, it seems random, but Lana Lang would just show up at the Daily Planet.
Just gets introduced. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's the last we hear of her.
And Clark is impressed with her. And that's
Yeah.
really, that's pretty much it. Like, Lana Lang is in this, like, towards the end, like, she shows up again, but, like, she has no purpose in the story, really. She's just there.
In the TV series, she owns the newspaper, the local newspaper in Smallville.
Yeah.
And when Superman and Lois retire from the Daily Planet, they go to work, and Lois goes to work for Lana at the newspaper.
Well, I mean, like in the movie version of Superman 3 that we get, like it does end with Lana Lang working at the Daily Planet, but it makes more sense. It's like Clark Kent kind of talked her into leaving Smallville, you know, so she wants to follow in his footsteps and go into the Big Apple because, you know, she's in love with Clark Kent. So it makes sense. Okay, so then immediately after the credits, we end up explaining how at the time of the explosion of Krypton, there was another survivor, Supergirl. We then establish her escape from Krypton in accordance with the comics, of course, and we show her landing on Brainiac's planet, the name of which I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't remember. Not important. The younger Brainiac will find her in the equivalent of the wheat field in the first film. However, the whole sequence should be the total opposite of the Kent landing, the planet being all black and sinister, blah, blah, blah. Brainiac finds the baby girl and takes her home. We then follow with various sequences of her growing up. We see that she has superpowers, and we understand clearly that Brainiac is getting very affectionate, primarily as a father, but as she gets older into adolescence, his affection is of a man in love.
Planet Colu, or
Colu,
C-O-L-U.
So yeah,
Anyway.
This is messed up. Brainiac's going to raise her as his daughter, and then he's going to fall in love with her. Like, and Ilya Salkind in the audio commentary
I
for Superman
could
3.
make some horrible jokes about Brainiac's last name right now, but I'm not. I'm not going to let it go because what's going on.
In the audio commentary, Ilya Salkind talks about how he was distressed by how sexualized Lorelai was in the movie, and he thought that was going too far. And yet, this is something he included in his outline, that Brainiac was going to fall in love with his adopted daughter. Come on, man. And he even tries to, like, he offers her marriage and she rejects it. And then she runs away to the US. Like, randomly she goes to Earth. Okay.
Ends up on Earth. Of all the planets to choose from, she ends up here.
Yeah. No explanation. Just that's just where she is. She easily assimilates to Earth ways. And Brainiac's going to be looking for her all over the universe, even though later in this same story outline, apparently he can read her mind and knows where she is at all times, but whatever. Concurrently, we also see Superman doing one or two of his feats. Anyway, sooner or later, Supergirl will reveal her powers by solving a local threat, which will make her known to Superman in the world. So Superman then needs to know more about her, so he poses as a petty criminal to see how she would react. Try to imagine how that would play out. Like, really. Superman posing as a petty criminal. What?
Does he dress up in another alter ego? You know, you got Clark Kent, you got Superman, you got petty criminal.
You're carrying around the swag bag and everything, you know, the little cat burglar mask.
Yeah. Striped shirt and all that stuff.
But it doesn't really matter because she then finds him out, and then they go to Seventh Heaven. Like, they go on a date to Seventh Heaven. And if you know anything about DC Comics, Seventh Heaven is a huge freaking deal. It's like the ultimate heaven, and they're just going there on a date. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Just go to Seventh Heaven. Whatever.
I take a date to 7-Eleven in those days.
Well done.
Slushies were cheap,
Well
man.
Once again, who wrote this? Jerry Lee Lewis. Isn't she Superman's cousin?
This is completely insane. Like, don't worry, it gets to, I think it said it earlier, like they fall in love. Like, okay, yeah, the look between the two will tell the audience that they have magically fallen in love. There is then, after they have fallen in love, conversation trying to find out if they are related. They are not. That's it. That's all we get.
So, who's your daddy?
Ilya Salkin may have been a freak, man.
Got to make sure there's no incestual, incestuous,
God.
Remember that hair
things
he
going
had,
on
guy?
here.
Remember that hair he had, Ilya? He looked like he was a wannabe Albert Einstein.
Yeah. He had wild hair, and at one point he had like a super thick, like 70s porn stash. Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking of Alexander. I'm thinking of the old man. Sorry.
Yeah, the old man had the what's that guy who did Mike Tyson? The guy with the hair. What's his name? Mike Tyson's manager. I can't remember. Anyway,
Don
King.
Don King. Thank you. He had the Don King hair.
Yeah.
Brainiac then finds out that Supergirl's in love with Superman, and then builds a machine that will change Superman's personality, and this is how we get evil, petty Superman. But Ilya's very concerned that children understand what's happening. Like, there has to be, like, he has to show Brainiac pushing buttons and then immediately cutting to Superman changing or something. I don't know. He also talked about that in the audio commentary, how he thought children would be confused about Superman being evil. I was never confused. And I was like, I don't know, 5? I wasn't confused.
It was not confusing at all. Green stuff, evil Superman. Yeah.
I think it's safe to say his favorite Elvis movie was Kissing Cousins. I'm just saying, this has like an adoptive father falling in love with her, and then like her not cousin falling in love with her. There's something weird going on here.
Lots of weirdness going on for sure. Yeah.
They didn't have a Mario Puzo for this one. That's for
no, definitely needed Mario Puzo.
David and Leslie Newman. Like this pile of poop. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't like being mean to writers, but it definitely needed somebody else. Superman and Supergirl get involved in some feat together, blissfully in love, and then Superman becomes violent and starts to destroy everything, and Supergirl panics with disbelief, tries everything to play along with Superman's totally unpredictable moments, so she's like a battered wife at this point.
Superman changes out his cape and leotard for a wife beater.
I'm sorry, I'll make you a super sandwich.
Get me in the kitchen and bake me a pie.
It just sounds like this is some kind of XXX movie.
It's so messed up.
It's horrible.
There's tension building up that everyone wants Supergirl to get rid of Superman, and she is the only one with enough strength to do it. So, like, the whole world is banded together and said, you know what, Supergirl, you have to kill your boyfriend because he's evil now.
But they're relatives, and it's Jerry Lee Lewis and his cousin, and what the heck? Who wrote this? It's wrong. It's just wrong.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten started with the really crazy stuff yet. It goes off the rails.
Yeah, it wasn't no Return of the Jedi, that's for sure.
At some point, they basically all go on a very bad trip.
Yes, they do. So then Brainiac finally appears in front of Supergirl and says, okay, if you marry me, I'll stop messing with Superman. And Supergirl's reaction is one of despair, sufferance, and confusion. Now, as an English major, I have to say, not only did you misspell sufferance, but that's not what it means. Sufferance means pretty much the opposite of what you think it means. As she still feels a daughterly love for Brainiac. So she's still in love with her father. Great. Good job, Ilya. But seeing that
I have figured out your evil plan, Tug. I just want you to know that.
Yeah. I have an evil plan.
Your evil plan is to read me just how bad it could have been to make me like the way it was better. You say you think Superman 3 was bad, dude? Hey,
this is what it could have been.
You sussed me out, man.
Your point is looking better and better every minute, by the way. It's looking better and better.
If you thought it was bad, it could have been horrible.
It could have been so much.
No, it could have been a dismal nightmare, couldn't it?
So Supergirl plays along because in this movie, apparently Supergirl just does whatever the man tells her to do.
I like how she can turn off the whole mind reading thing at any point.
Yeah, at any point she can like turn off.
Brainiac can't read her mind when she's lying to him. Apparently, bold-faced lie.
And then for some reason he releases Superman, so he's looking for Supergirl. And in the middle of all this, just randomly, Mr. Mxyzptlk shows up. Now, Mr. Mxyzptlk, let's talk about Mr. Mxyzptlk. as a comic book character, I guess he works as like an impish, interdimensional trickster. Sure, prankster. Okay. In movie form, even if it were played by Dudley Moore, who honestly is a pretty good casting, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, I can't imagine this working. I cannot imagine Mr. Mxyzptlk in a movie.
We got the Superman. We got the Superman universe version of a Batmite. Wonderful.
Basically, it's Batmite. Yeah, it's exactly the same thing.
They used him in Santa Claus the movie.
Yeah,
talking about Arthur.
Yeah, Dudley Moore. Yeah, reportedly Dudley Moore was in consideration to play Mr. Mxyzptlk before they decided to bring in Richard Pryor. Anyway.
I didn't know that. That's a good fact, Tug.
Yeah, and honestly, like if you have to put Mr. Mxyzptlk in a Superman movie, which I would firmly say don't do that, but if you have to do it, Dudley Moore's a pretty good choice.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, he just randomly shows up in the middle of all this just because the plot demanded it, I guess. And he's telling deadly jokes, which can kill hundreds of thousands of people. That's all the explanation we get. And doesn't permit Superman to have time to be Clark Kent anymore because he's so busy dealing with all of Mr. Mxyzptlk's deadly, let's just call him Mixies, deadly pranks or whatever. So then at the Daily Planet, Perry, Lana, and Jimmy are worried about the whereabouts of Clark Kent and try to find out the last time anyone saw or heard of him. Okay, I may have skipped over it earlier, but it mentioned that Clark Kent was also affected by Brainiac's machine, and at one point he slapped Perry. So yeah, they're worried about him, I guess. Wow. They probably think he's on learned drugs. About alcohol or something. I don't know.
He's on drugs. He's
drugs.
He's gotten in with that bad crowd,
And then Perry, assuming that Clark Kent, because of his exclusive articles, is often where Superman is, sends Lana and Jimmy to Europe because Superman is there fighting Mr. Mxyzptlk. That's a leap of logic to justify a trip to Europe, I guess.
Lame. They already did that in Superman 2, going to Paris.
Yeah, I know, right? Ilya Salkin just really wants it to be in Europe. There's more of that later, too. Superman finds a way to send Mr. Mxyzptlk back to his galaxy universe by making him say his name backwards. I'm just going to leave that there. No commentary.
It's like a Super Friends bit, a segment of Super Friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Say that backwards. It's all consonants.
Yeah, saying Mr. Mxyzptlk is hard enough.
Saying it forward is hard enough. Yeah.
I want to thank you, Doug, for pointing out just how bad the movie could have been.
And then Mr. Mxyzptlk is out of the way. Superman can continue to search for Superman.
Watching this will have new respect for Superman 3. I know I do.
I'm trying to do that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you achieved it with me, man. I got new respect for it. I didn't know it could have been this bad.
Zack Snyder would love this script. Yeah, make Jared Leto play Mr. Mxyzptlk. See how that goes. Yeah, Indy, it's spelled wrong. You have to put the E in there. Sufferance. It basically just means tolerating, like going along with something without objection, just because you can, basically. Which is the exact opposite of what he meant. He meant suffrage, but not the voting thing. The actual.
Once again, who wrote this? Jerry Lee Lewis.
Ilya Salkin, the producer of the first 3 Superman movies.
Yeah, it's not even a script.
This is the guy who basically fired Richard Donner.
Yeah, him and Pierre Spengler, the other producer. Yeah,
Pierre Spengler, probably more
French people are mostly jerks.
If you're gonna write something for like a Superman script or an outline, it would help if you actually knew something about Superman.
I think he has read the comics.
Did he not realize they're related? What part of that he didn't get?
He just didn't want them to be. That's why he says they are not.
It don't matter. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to change that."
They're not
Ilya
cousins
Salkin.
in
He can
this
do whatever he
world.
wants.
They're definitely not cousins in this film for sure. Yeah. No.
Aw, thank you, Chrissy. We love you. She's actually going to be here next week, so look forward to that.
Oh, and I have to run, but hopefully I will be back.
Okay, cool. So you're going to miss out on all this craziness.
I know, it sucks. I'm sorry. Girl Scouts call. I
understand. Go. Be a dad. Okay.
Some cookies at least. Girl Scout cookies. I love them.
Yeah, I know. She's like my dealer. Thank you so much, Tracy. You too. Aw. The ladies of the chat are so nice. And Tracy, if you want to watch the most recent Hellboy movie, that's what we're going to talk about next week. So if you want to watch that, you can be on my panel.
You know, for that donation, you can get a pack at the Dollar Tree of wonderful lemon cream cookies.
And
They're
still have money left over.
$1.25. They're way better than any Girl Scout cookie I ever had. And
You know what? Next time I go to the dollar store, which I do go to the dollar store relatively often, I will look for them. What's
it's
the
a
brand
Dollar
name again?
Tree. It's called Dutch Made.
Dutch Made.
And I'm leery of off brands like that. They're out of Alabama State, but they're really good lemon cream cookie. It look like an Oreo, but it has lemon instead of.
Now, what do I think of Hellboy movies? Because let me point out that the Dollar Tree and dollar stores have a DVD section now where they have these really cool yellow labeled DVDs
Yeah.
for $1, and they're just great DVDs. And I was looking through them yesterday, and I saw 2 or 3 Hellboy movies up in there for $1, and I said, "Well, that's probably not worth it." And I didn't get them. Now I feel bad about that.
It's okay, man. I haven't figured out where I'm gonna watch it yet. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere or what. But
Tug, you need to.
And I seen a trailer for that new Hellboy movie, and I'm not sure I really want to see it.
Yeah, I didn't really have any interest in it, but then somebody on Chrissy's panel was talking about it, and we decided we were going to watch it and do a show on my channel.
But that's the way it started with Joker 2, and then I wound up seeing it, and now I still freaking regret it.
I have no interest whatsoever. Anyway.
No thanks. Okay.
What were you saying, Chance?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. You can safely skip the reboot. Yeah, well, I was going to, but now I'm not. Where was I? Let's see. Okay, so meanwhile, Brainiac, having prepared everything for his return, because the Mr. Mixie Spitalik thing was just a fever dream that happened in the middle of the movie, and it's over now. So Brainiac has desperately trying to find, Brainiac is with Supergirl. Supergirl is trying to find a solution, and then right when they leave, Superman shows up. He's found them. And before Brainiac has a chance to activate the controls on his machine, there's a tremendous confrontation where we discover that Brainiac's powers are much stronger than those of Superman. Brainiac now also realizes that Supergirl has contacted Superman with her X-ray vision. Not sure how that would work, but okay. Like, what? Which confirms that
material.
Supergirl loves Superman and not Brainiac. Duh. He needed to use his mind control to figure that one out. Brainiac then immobilizes Superman in one of his energy cages. You know, at this point, he just immobilizes him. Sure. Okay. And then with Supergirl, activates his machinery, which takes them into the past, into the era of nobles and serfs. So now we have time travel. Why not? Brainiac, of course, becomes a ruthless tyrant with the serfs. Of course. He is always reminding Supergirl that if she does not follow him willingly, he will activate the personality machine through the time lapse and destroy Superman. So, what? Okay, we're in the past. Brainiac has become a tyrant in the past. We're not entirely sure how much time is passing in the past, but he's here just for poops and giggles, and he can defeat Superman with the push of a button in the future, but he's not going to because he wants to hold that over Supergirl, even though he could still hold it over Supergirl while also killing Superman. Whatever. He's not a very bright Brainiac, we'll say. Hold on a second. I got to say hi to John. Seeing a movie and regretting it is probably one of the more interesting things you can do. I do often have a lot more to say about movies I regret seeing than movies I don't.
like Catwoman with Halle Berry.
She looked good in that movie. Everything else is terrible. Her acting is also terrible.
I did not hate that movie for some reason.
Okay.
But I like the other Catwoman a lot better. The one from
the Michelle Pfeiffer one.
Yeah, it was just like Catwoman.
Wonder Woman 1984.
Oh God.
I don't know. I think my favorite Catwoman
that's rough.
From the Adam West Batman show.
That Kirsten Wiig was a disgrace in that Wonder Woman 1984. She was not good.
And when she turns into Cheetah or whatever, the CGI is so bad. Anyway, that's a really bad movie, and it's basically a lot like this script. It's just completely mad and insane, random stuff thrown at the wall.
What a great premise, though. 80s. I like the era and the mall scene and all that, but they just it was
Yeah,
a waste.
and casting Pedro Pascal as Max Lord. I mean, that's awesome. But no, the movie's terrible.
Talking about the waste of space that is Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did like
Linda
that
Carter
movie.
cameo,
I
notwithstanding.
did like that movie, but the only thing I really liked about it was Linda Carter in the last 5 seconds.
Yeah, Linda Carter's the best part of the movie. She's only in it
That
for
was
like
the only
6
part of the movie I really made it worth it to me. So the whole rest of it's worth sitting through just for that last few seconds with her.
She made Botox look good. She sure did. Linda Carter.
I
in that
love
And let me
cameo.
just say, I love looking at Gal Gadot. I think she's amazing to look at.
You don't
She's
like hearing her?
terrible actress. She cannot act her way out of a paper freaking bag.
That accent, right?
Yeah.
I remember a very young 12 or 13-year-old me with the big Wonder Woman poster on the wall, man. Linda
Cool.
Carter's been like Lonnie Anderson, one of them girls of my youth that were on the wall.
She was something, man.
No shame in admitting that.
No, not at all.
I'm not going to shame you.
I felt
Why would I?
things.
Sure.
Sure.
Farrah Fawcett hung on the wall too in that famous poster for a few years.
That was on a lot of kids' walls.
Which Heather Thomas's poster beat in terms of the sales numbers. The internet lies. It says that Farrah's poster in the one piece gold bathing suit was the best-selling wall poster of all time. Heather Thomas in the pink bikini actually beat that. She told me herself when I interviewed her on the Nostalgia Pod Blast, because she had access to the numbers because she had, she got a piece of the pie.
Right.
And her people told her, for some reason, I don't think it's a conspiracy. I just don't think that data has been uploaded to the internet.
Yeah,
Anyway,
they really like Hollywood tends to stick to narratives even after they die. Like
Yeah.
they become Hollywood legends, and they just get repeated and repeated and repeated.
But just to say, I had a couple of Farrah Fawcett posters over the years. I ain't never had no Heather poster on my wall.
That's okay. You're a boomer. That's okay. I'm teasing.
I'm trying to think if I ever had a half naked lady on my wall. I don't think I did. I just had movie posters.
And I did also have a Janis Joplin poster on the wall too. So I'm old.
Well, and she's
And
a
the
dog.
Doors. And the
Yeah.
Doors.
Yeah.
And I had a Doors poster, with Jim Morrison.
I'm not an ageist. I just don't know. Well, never mind. I'll save that, and my filter kicks in. My filter is
You're about to get yourself in trouble, I think.
Yeah.
Hello, Roger Rambo. Thank you.
Animal in the Muppet Show to me. Janis Joplin look like Animal.
Wait. Your iPad makes you write like Immanuel Kant? Really? It's a typo. I'm just having fun with her. Okay, so anyway, let's get back to this crazy script because it's not over yet. Back at Brainiac's castle in 1981, Jimmy and Lana find Superman because he uses his super voice, and they free him somehow. And then Superman takes Lana and Jimmy under his cape and follows Brainiac into the past. So this is apparently a power that Superman has had all along. He can just randomly time travel.
Like in Superman the movie when he turned back time.
Yeah, well, he had to work for that.
I love that scream too, but I digress.
By the way,
favorite.
of all the movies and stuff, the part where he turned back time, a group of kids thought that was the stupidest stuff they ever saw in their life.
That's supposed to be for Superman 2, by the way, too.
Yeah, it was originally supposed to be in Superman 2, and it's in the Richard Donner cut. Yeah,
Sure is.
It is a really dumb plot device.
Yeah, well,
Star Trek. The original, it's like the time continuum or whatever. What in the original Star Trek? You know this, Tug and Dan. What was it? What they called? They not reverse the polarity. Anyway, whatever. There was a formula, a time formula Spock had discovered. Whatever.
Oh, right.
In the making time, there's a term. Oh well, I'll just shut up.
It'll come to me like as soon as we stop recording or stop streaming, and I'll be like, oh, that's it. But so yeah, Superman goes into the past with Lana and Jimmy, and Brainiac decides he will remain on Earth until he kills Superman, and he starts preparing a trap. And then Superman, Jimmy, and Lana arrive in disguise, and they learn about Brainiac and blah blah blah. They arrive at the castle. And Brainiac cleverly now takes Jimmy and Lana as hostages because nobody could have thought of that except Brainiac. And has become totally insane with jealousy, decides to activate the personality machine, to make Superman super evil, but the love between Superman and Supergirl is so strong that it doesn't work.
Oh,
That makes sense.
God.
This gives Superman the chance to escape, leaving Supergirl, Jimmy, and Lana at the mercy of Brainiac. So Superman and Supergirl leave, and they leave Jimmy and Lana just with Brainiac. Just, yeah. Anyway, it's kind of like at the end of the movie version where like Superman leaves the machine to go get the chemical that's going to destroy it. And for a split second, you might think that he's abandoning everybody, but of course he's not because he's Superman. It's kind of like that. Maybe that came out of this.
In my mind being old, I guess, and growing up with the original Superman scripts and the Superman family comic books and the Supergirl comic books, and being real familiar with this because Supergirl being one of my favorite characters, back on Krypton, when she used to babysit her little cousin, stuff, and while she was sent to Earth to babysit Superman and make sure he grew up in time, and because of the time dilation in the ships, she didn't get here till after he was grown. It was an accident, but she was sent to take care of him, her little cousin, and I grew up with them being family. So any hint or talk of them having a relationship,
it's like, wrong, isn't it? I know.
Like brother and Brett sticking to me. It's like so freaking Kentucky, man.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Totally. I don't want to hear this.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. We're almost done. We're almost done.
It's horrible, man.
So Superman zooms into the future and finds Mr. Mxyzptlk because he just finds him. He was outcast into the fifth dimension, but now Superman finds him and agrees on a deal with him so that Mr. Mxyzptlk can defeat Brainiac. Anyway, so they both reappear, and Mr. Mxyzptlk, with his awesome powers, sends the whole town into another dimension where neither Superman nor Supergirl nor Brainiac have any powers. Because that's something that can happen. So then we have the climax of the movie, where Superman and Brainiac wear knight's armor and have a duel on horses in a medieval castle.
Oh, God.
Okay, you gotta admit, of all the supervillains in the Superman universe, Brainiac and Mr. Fiddleshits are the two worst ones.
So of course Superman wins the duel, and they all go back to 1981. And you think it's going to be happily ever after, but no. Then Mr. Mxyzptlk decides to renege on his deal and masterminds the biggest catastrophe of them all. He stops time, and only he, Superman, and Supergirl can move through the paralyzed street. He then breaks up the street and the people into a gigantic puzzle and gives Superman 1 minute to put the puzzle together. If not, he will send the unfinished puzzle to the planet Mercury. That is a lot of words that were just vomited out. I don't even know where to begin with that. Obviously, Superman is able, with a little help from Supergirl, to save the millions of innocents and to send Mr. Mxyzptlk back to where he comes from. He just solves it. That's it. Metropolis then learns that all the strange behavior of Superman Clark Kent was caused by Brainiac. Now, that's actually more than you get in the actual movie version of Superman 3. In the movie version of Superman 3, nobody knows why Superman went crazy. And the next big question is, does Superman marry Supergirl in Superman 3 or Superman 4? Stay tuned to find out. That's it. And then there's like this little thing at the end saying, this is all, preliminary.
That makes Superman 3, the final product, look like a work of freaking art.
I had to share it. Because when I read that, I was agape. I was staring at my screen like,
this can't be real. Sure that ain't somebody jerking you around? That's like
no, that is 100% real.
Just for coming up with the idea of the incestuous relationship between Superman and Supergirl, he ought to have his ass whooped.
Kissing cousins, right?
Yep.
Oh, man, that's some good Billy stuff, man.
Did you know, by the way, speaking of Supergirl, who was supposed to play Lucy Lane, the younger sister of Lois Lane?
Yeah.
Demi Moore. I thought it would have been perfect because she sounded like Margot Kidder, had that raspy voice and everything, but she turned it down to do Blame It on Rio, which is a good movie. but I digress. And then you had that no name. I can't remember her name. Who played Lucy Lane in Supergirl. She wasn't very good. Anyway.
Yeah, well, Supergirl wasn't very good. So
the international cut's better than the USA cut is terrible. They cut almost 45 minutes out of the picture.
Really?
Yeah, I have a limited edition DVD from 2000 from Anchor Bay, and the international cut is much better. That they butchered that movie for US.
I'll make sure I track it down before I cover it, because I do plan on covering both that and Superman 4 before the new Superman movies come out. So God be with
I might
you.
mail you one if I have 2 copies.
If you do, you can, but don't feel obligated to. I'm sure I can find it.
It's not in HD that I'm aware of or 4K, but it's just DVD, but it's not bad quality visually.
No, that's fine. Most of the stuff I do is just through DVD. I don't have enough space on my computer hard drive for Blu-ray.
At least you can play them. I mean, they don't have trays anymore with new MacBooks and laptops.
Oh yeah, no, I had to buy an external. So
conspiracy to force streaming on us and take away physical media.
But I'm not falling for it.
Yeah,
I know you're not either.
Did you have a chance to upload some of the pictures I sent you? I mean, not now, just whenever you're ready. I'm just good. I'm just for later.
But I did. Yeah, I've got it.
Good. Cool. Trying to find Supergirl.
I didn't upload them to StreamYard, but I've got a window open with all of them on it. So.
Oh, cool.
Let me stop that. So anyway, yeah. See, Dan, Superman 3 could have been so much worse.
Yeah, you're making me see just how much worse it could have been. I'm sitting here just for awe, shock, and nausea, some of that stuff. I mean,
Vim says maybe it was one of the jokes of Mr. Mix's Fiddleick. Yeah, there's Supergirl. Yep.
That's the international cut. I like Faye Dunaway. I always liked her in Mommy Dearest as Joan.
I like
of course.
Supergirl movie. I
Great.
thought she was super cool. Was it Helen Slater?
Yeah, Helen Slater.
I think she's beautiful. I think she made a great Supergirl. I think the movie could have been more interesting and done a little better, but I didn't hate Supergirl.
There's 50,000 units that were made of this cut. There's 2 cuts, a director's cut and an international cut. And THX remastered Lucasfilm sound. Anyway.
Cool.
That's a movie I should go back and revisit because I don't remember too much.
Me either. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. So.
Well, they had someone that was like Lorelai Ambrosia in that. They had another blonde actress who had a similar look and was doing the ditzy thing. That's one thing I liked about Lorelai. Can you explain this, Tug and Dan? What was the whole deal about her trying to pretend to be stupid? Lorelai Ambrosia.
I felt like it was a big plot setup for some twist at the end that never happens. That's what it feels like. It feels like they had a plan, but they never saw it.
At some point, I wonder what she pretended.
And I think she was just pretending to get in like the good graces of this rich billionaire. Like that makes sense.
Maybe so. Or just maybe she was going to steal a formula or an idea from him or something, and she wanted to look like a moron. And
even at the end, she seemed to be like rooting for Superman. Not really hiding it very well.
I've been married 3 times, and trust me, sometimes women play stupid just to be sneaky and devious and underhanded. So you got to.
But I think that's one of the things that makes her character so interesting is you don't really know what her game plan is. Like, I don't know. I like that.
Undeveloped part of
it.
It
is underdeveloped for sure. It needed more time.
And she's married to is Billy Connolly, the Scottish comedian, and she was on the Dancing with the Stars 2006 version, the original version of that stupid show over in England.
I did not know.
I've never watched that much.
Yeah, me neither.
I have watched some clips of it when certain people were dancing with the stars, but
like Marie Osmond or something.
Yeah, my mom really liked it, but no.
Yeah,
that one. But
was it? Oh yeah. So there's a huge plot hole in Superman 3, Tug. Okay. How is it that Superman can have sex with mortal Lorelai Ambrosia, even though he's in his evil set persona, without losing his powers? That was so established in Superman the movie and Superman 2 in the original script that you must become immortal. You will tear this person apart. You won't know what you're doing.
Right.
So how come that was just jettisoned? That was a big plot hole. So really, we saw Chris Reeves Superman have sex, I guess 2 times.
Maybe they didn't get past second base. It's not shown, so
it's not shown. But he grabbed her by the hair and said, "Let's go to town." And
that's going to happen.
Yeah, and I think the secret is they give Superman like 40 Xanaxes to slow him down.
But he was a typical man when like she sees him the next day. He's like that man's not here anymore. I don't know what you're talking about, lady.
Yeah, that guy's gone. Yeah. Like the other night. Sorry, lady. I don't know you, lady. That guy's that's kind of cold, man. It's like, God,
That's brutal.
she gave it up for you, dude. Man. But it was the evil Superman. So he didn't lose any powers. So why can the laws
That's
of
a good
physics
point. I never thought of
not
that.
adhere to? Yeah.
That's a good
You can't
point.
do that. You're killer. Anyway. Hey, here's my this is from 1988, Superman 3 Extended, ABC.
Nice.
Extra 20 minutes. I taped it myself back then. And I got this from a guy named Jim Bowers, capedwonder.com. He used to live in the Atlanta, Georgia area. He made this from Super VHS from his recording. That's what this is. This videotape. The extended Superman 3.
Relatively decent version of it on, it wasn't YouTube, it was a Daily Motion, I think. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I like Daily Motion. They can get around copyright.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to extract some of the extended scenes and see if copyright will let me put them on my channel. Remember the dumb bit in the beginning, extended where the kid seesaws into the tree in the very beginning during the slapstick?
Yeah.
There's a kid on a seesaw. That was kind of, you could tell it was an obvious dummy too in one of the close-up pickup shots.
Yeah, it was really goofy. I'm glad they cut that.
Yeah, me too.
But like you, I really hate that opening sequence. I mean, yeah, it sets your expectations for what this movie is going to be. So in that respect, it is what it's supposed to be, but it's not good. It's like, it's just Rube Goldberg slapstick, and it's goofy and stupid. And this is a Superman movie. What is this? I mean, Damien was talking about how he liked it, and I just kept my mouth shut. But like, I really hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lorelei Ambrosian on top of the Statue of Liberty.
That is an
I
image that stayed with me
yeah.
my entire childhood.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really, I don't know. Richard Pryor's acting in Superman 3 is what got me. It was just so, just so out of it. So
One
But
word, cocaine. He was on cocaine.
he didn't do enough.
And like this was after the incident, we'll say. He kind of toned himself down, I think, a little too much. Like I was saying before, like the PG Richard Pryor is great for kids, but people who know Richard Pryor know that there's like a before and after in terms of his acting style. And yeah,
Something
Plus-
off with the whole performance, and it was like he was stepping back, man.
yeah.
Bustin' Loose is my
Holding
favorite.
it in, so to speak.
Yeah, Bustin' Loose is my favorite underrated Richard Pryor movie. Whatever.
I've already mentioned it multiple times, but The Toy is probably my favorite from my childhood, just because I have so much fond memories of it.
I like
He
the
was
one-
the first live action Spider-Man when you think about it. Richard
That's-
Pryor.
That's a good
In a
point.
way.
My favorite Richard Pryor movies would have to be the ones he did with Gene Wilder.
Was it? It was Pryor, actually, Nicholas Pryor in Spider-Man TV show. Was
Right.
The first live action. Or even Electric Company, whoever the guy was in the Spider-Man outfit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm blasting off.
No, it's totally fine. We're already past an hour. We can go silly. Yeah. Let's see.
I remember when I was a kid watching that Superman TV show with Reeves
go.
in it, the black and white one. It showed on.
Oh, the
TV.
George Reeves? Yeah.
I kind of grew up with Superman.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, we all did, right? Like everybody did.
So there's some of the Topps cards you have on the screen, Tug. I sent you those pictures, and they're there on my hot little hand. There's the sticker. I love that sticker, Chris Reeve. It's very patriotic and cool.
Yeah, I mean that's like in that scene where Richard Pryor is doing the general thing and Superman's just kind of standing there, but he's standing there like right in front of the American flag. So it kind of looks like that.
And he was big too. Chris Reeve never looked bigger in terms
Yeah.
of his muscle mass than in Superman 3. By the way, in the fight scene, Jim Bowers told me this, and I always stuck with
welcome back.
when he breaks out of the tires. Remember when the evil Superman hurls a bunch of tires in the junkyard around Clark Kent, and Clark Kent hurls the tires around evil Superman.
Right.
Trapped, and then he bursts out of him. A big loogie comes out of Chris Reeve's mouth at that
Yes.
moment. A huge spit
You
loogie.
know, I hate to think how many hundreds and hundreds of them carts me and my friends went through, flipping them on our bicycles with paper with clothesline clips
Yeah.
Mhm.
to
Sure.
make that funny little
Spokes.
noise. Went down the road. Brrrr.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
such a waste, man.
It's kind of
Yep.
like my brother with all those Star Wars action figures that are worth so much more money today. He just would stick them in bottle rockets and launch the bottle rockets, and they come down as like this big massive goo, something out of the thing.
Oh, I go in the swimming pool. I slit Luke Skywalker's throat on my Friday the 13th page. No, I did. I slit his throat and put like red blood around his neck. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mine all
Not
ended
worrying
up
at
in
all.
the sand
Oh,
pile and
I got you.
just destroyed.
I got you good, man. I took GI Joes and set them like 60 yards away on little toy tanks and in fields and stuff. And then I took the 22 with the scope and practiced shooting by sniper into GI Joes.
One thing I
Wow.
did want to mention about Richard Pryor, and this picture right here reminded me.
Yes.
He definitely downplayed how much the incident had affected him. He was physically in a lot of pain pretty much all the time. Just moving, walking, just doing anything would cause him pain. And a lot of the stuff you see him do in Superman 3 is actually his stunt double. It's not really him. And I just want to point that out, that like a lot of the reason why I think some of his humor got toned down is because he was like physically in pain almost all the time. And he didn't want to take pain medicine because he didn't want to get addicted to anything else. So
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Wow.
What was he in pain from?
Well, he got third-degree
Yeah,
burns
on
all over his
fire.
body.
Right.
Oh,
Freebasing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and towards the end of his life, he did admit that that was an attempt at word I can't say here on YouTube.
Oh, right. To take his own life?
Yes, there you go. You
Yes.
can say that.
Unalive himself.
Unalive. That's the YouTube word. I hate that one.
Yeah.
Don't say that M word about little people no more neither.
Oh yeah, true.
They got
How
me
are
the other day. I got one of them. We're taking your video down because you called somebody a bad word thing.
Like yeah, content warnings or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
YouTube is run by a bunch of nannies.
So those are the Superman 3. Now that's the back of the Superman 3 official DC Comics adaptation of the film. I love that
Let me
shot
go
of
all the way
Chris
back to
Reeve.
the beginning of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, there it is. The official
There, there's
adaptation
the
of the
cover.
movie.
very nice. Yeah, I love that cover, and I always wondered how are they going to talk the seduction scene between Lorelei Ambrosia and evil Superman. How are they going to show that in the comic? I did send you a picture of it. Oh, look at the record. Can I show you something on the record? If you back that up, I have a trivia question for the panel. All right, what's wrong with that cover right there? What's wrong?
Besides the
There's-
fact that Superman's flying around with Richard Pryor in his arms like a girl, I don't know.
I mean, it looks like he's taking a dump and he's missing his right leg.
Damien, can you tell what's wrong? Or Tug, anybody? Dan?
I'm looking at it.
No.
I'm trying to look close. It's awful, tiny little picture right
I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with Chris Reeve's costume, Superman's costume.
With the S.
Yes, there's no S in the back of the cape. They forgot to put that on there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Good
Yeah.
point.
That's all.
Me-
And that's a promotional copy. See, you can't really make it out in the upper right corner
and
of the record. It's promotional purposes only. It wasn't.
And here I am, looking at their hands to make sure their thumbs are on the right side.
You're used to the AI stuff.
Yeah, this I was about to say the AI stuff. I'm always looking at things, making sure they're real.
Oh, the other thing about Richard Pryor is that he was deathly afraid of heights. And for the scenes where they're like flying, they're like hung up on wires, he is out of his mind in terror. Like he's not really acting.
So when Christopher Reeve tells him to watch his feet, he really is watching his feet.
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
And the trailer was so such a lie. At the end of the trailer, the official full theatrical trailer said, "This is going to be the best time of all."
Yeah.
What's sad that
No, it's
the
not.
only part of the whole movie where I thought he was doing some good at it was the part where he was really scared.
Yeah, but
It's,
in the
it's
Superman 3
not the
trailer,
Grand Canyon, by the way.
you actually got some of the music that was cut from the first film by John Williams. They put some of the music during the earthquake sequence that was cut or muted.
Yeah, you mentioned it in passing, but Ken Thorne, like the way he was able to take Williams's original themes and like make them his own and do his own thing with them, I think is actually very impressive. Like Ken Thorne does not get nearly enough credit for doing that.
I completely agree.
I wanted to second you on that point.
I agree. I do. And I thought his version of the end theme, like you said earlier in the show, anyone tuning in late, was really well done.
You
Yeah.
know, the one thing I'll say about Superman 3 was the John Voight performance as the bad guy was really
Voight?
spot on. He did a
You
really
mean Robert Vaughn.
Robert Vaughn.
Yeah.
Robert Vaughn. Yeah, his performance was spot on in that movie.
He has a whistle when he speaks too. When he says S's, it was a constant annoyance to sound people over the years. Yeah,
that makes a really good bad guy.
He does. I just,
Bruce, just born to play a bad guy.
I do like Robert Vaughn, and I like him in this role. I just wish he'd been written to be a little less Lex Luthor-y. It just feels like a generic Lex Luthor. Hey, Lance, how's it going?
I don't know why I always call him John Boyd.
That's
I don't
okay.
know why. I don't know why.
I don't either.
It's okay.
John, it wasn't.
I'm horrible with names anyway.
Wasn't the Grand Canyon? It was Glen Canyon in Utah. I think in the movie it's supposed to be the Grand Canyon, maybe, but it's not.
Hey, Tug, some of the original cues weren't bad by Ken Thorne too, I think.
No, not at all.
Like when he reveals and hey, we got to talk about the Atari sound effect, Atari 2600 Pac-Man.
Yep.
That was used in the film.
Atari was helping with them, yeah. They even helped with those computer graphics for the video game segment, even though those look way better than any Atari game I ever played.
Yeah.
Apparently they helped with some of the graphics in the movie too.
Yeah, they did. And they were going to release a movie or a video game that was going to be about Superman, but there's a curse about Superman video games. And in 1983, if you know anything about video games, you know that the video game market completely tanked because of ET. So they canceled their plans for Superman 3, the video game. So,
and they're supposed to have a last Starfighter video game. It was announced in credits.
Starfighter game. Yep. Yeah. Same reason.
And I wish there was a Flash Gordon sequel. It was teased. The end ? Of 1980s Flash Gordon. That never happened.
True. And Masters of the Universe, you saw Skeletor's hand come up and all that. Yeah.
Yep.
James Bond will return in Fear Eyes Only. No, it was Moonraker.
Yeah. They had to capitalize on 2001.
And Star Wars. Yeah.
The video games are then the ones that wound up buried in a landfill in Arizona or something?
Yes, that was thought to be a urban legend for years.
I watched this thing on TV yesterday where they were going through the desert like archaeologists digging up video games.
Yeah, it really happened. They really did bury a whole ton of video games.
They're digging them up like archaeologists and they're still in their plastic and they take them out and they still play and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. They didn't smell so good, but yeah.
And even as a kid, I knew that ET video game was
so good down
garbage.
there.
I had that game. It was
buried them in these airtight containers.
Guys, what about Raiders of the Lost Ark 2600? I actually kind of like that game. The graphics suck, but it was a fun game. If you could get that arc, it was a thrill. Anyway. Hey, Lance.
I played a lot of Yar's Revenge. That was pretty much my
I didn't like the video games.
Yar's Revenge was good. Yeah.
Until Sega Genesis come out. When Sega Genesis come out, I got a love for video games from that Sega unit.
Does what Nintendo.
I played a lot of Sega.
What other pictures did I send you, Tug? The comic book, right? Did you want to
the comic book. You were talking about
Vera Robot and the seduction scene. With Lorelai and Evil. There it is. I should have taken a picture just of that one right side so you can see it better when watching on their TV. But anyway, there it is. And the Vera Robot was illustrated. I thought that was
actually looked really good. Looked better than it looks in the movie, actually.
Yeah, right there.
Yep,
there you go.
Yep. I always liked how evil Superman has the 5 o'clock shadow where Superman does,
and even his suit gets darker and stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like did evil Superman forget how to shave? I mean,
and he doesn't launder his suit anymore.
Yeah.
This is out there, guys, but where I really hate in retrospect, after Chris Reeve became a quadriplegic, it really irks me, but it disturbs me just to watch the scene where evil Superman kicks Clark in the neck in the junkyard and knocks him out. And just like in the original movie, when Lois Lane's about to interview Superman, she goes, "Don't move." Sure, you can move. And that made me sad because he became a quadriplegic. I don't know why. Call me crazy. Those two moments make me think about his sad fate, the fate of Christopher Reeve. But what an inspiration he was, though, to many people in that situation. Yeah. And I love stem cell research. There was a lot of controversy about that. We won't get into that. We're not that kind of a show. But that could have been a cure.
Do you remember Do you remember the South Park episode where Christopher Reeve was sucking babies?
Oh my god!
Oh god! Yeah. That's right, David.
Now, the thing I like about Christopher Reeve's Superman, as opposed to most of the other Supermen who've been on film, is that he's actually trying to be inspirational. He's actually trying to be aspirational. He's trying to serve as a role model, as a beacon. In other Superman movies, not so much.
Superman Returns. Yeah.
Returns.
He was a deadbeat dad, dude. He left Lois Lane and his kid. He went to outer space. No child support. Sorry.
And then you got, as much as I love Henry Cavill, and I think he could have been great in the role if it weren't Zack Snyder, the Man of Steel version of Superman is just, he's way too moody. He's trying to be the Dark Knight. He's trying to be, he's not an inspirational figure. He's a moody bitch.
I like the way the Superman TV show ended, where Superman got old and died.
Yeah.
Grew up, and then we had two Supermen.
Yeah.
Two Supermans. One,
That was Steve Rogers, Captain America, too. He got old.
True.
Like an Endgame.
Yeah, but oh my God, what they've done with that Captain America character is a nightmare.
I liked Brave New World, actually. I thought it was good on the big screen, but we're talking Superman 3 today. I don't want to go on another rabbit hole. MCU. Yeah, right. Talking about the DCU. Yeah. OG DCU. OG DCU, to be exact. What other pictures did I send you, Tug? Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much just the comic from that point
on. Oh, I love that image.
Picture.
I'd never seen that image of Chris Reeve until I saw this comic book. And that's the inside back cover. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
At the risk of being offensive, I did want to talk about this version of Richard
No,
Pryor.
It's probably a likeness issue. They tried to pay Richard Pryor. It's probably intentional. It looks nothing like Richard Pryor.
Yeah, that's true. And they did the same thing with Robert Vaughn's character. He doesn't look anything like Robert Vaughn anymore.
Come on, they look like Shaft.
He looks like generic 70s black cop, basically.
He look like Shaft. Take a picture up on Google and compare it. Tell me that don't look like Shaft.
I will do that. I will do that for you. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the scene right there. Unknown 0.57%. Well, I'll just throw some tar in there.
No, not the Lawrence Fishburne version, the original Shaft. Come on. Richard Roundtree. There he is.
Yeah, Shaft.
Yeah, I see it. He does look like Shaft. A little older, though. A little older than Shaft.
Wait, what are they doing? They're having characters that were seemingly stupid be geniuses, like Gus Gorman. He could design the best computer ever. He was like a Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And he wasn't stupid, right? And you think he is in his first scene in the unemployment line. He's not dumb, just like Lorelai Ambrosia. I don't get that part of the story.
It's like a weird theme that doesn't go anywhere. Yeah.
And did you talk about Office Space? I love the half-cent scam that the character August Gorman, played by Richard Pryor, came up with, where you can claim a half cent off a paycheck, every paycheck in America, and it adds up.
It's kind of ingenious. Yeah.
I love that part of the story, actually, to be positive about Superman 3. And we missed Lex Luthor, right, guys?
And Office Space actually says, it's familiar. Yeah, you saw it in Superman 3.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like Gene Hackman, kind of like with Margot Kidder, I don't buy the official story that he was just had scheduling issues. Come on, after the things he said publicly, he wasn't going to go work for the Salkins again. It
was in People Magazine. I read it. Not that People Magazine is Time Magazine, but People Magazine reported that she was written out because she was so vocal pro Richard Donner and was attacking the producers.
So obvious. If you read the actual article that was interviewing her and the things that she said about the Salkins and Pierre Spangler, even if I was 100% on board with Ilya Salkin and stuff, I'd be like, of course they would fire her.
And talk about tension on the set, guys. I would recommend you watch David Letterman with Chris Reeve, where Chris Reeve's talking about Marlon Brando. Chris Reeve is always so kind in interviews. He's actually pretty, I won't say vicious, but he definitely speaks his mind about his dislike for Marlon Brando. In that interview on Late Night with David Letterman, I think it's 1983, promoting probably Superman 3. It's on the Letterman YouTube channel, the official Letterman YouTube
Well, when it comes to the whole debate between the Salkins and Brando, as much as I am actually on Brando's side, knowing the details that I know, it's still that kind of that William Shatner, George Takei thing. It's the battle of two egos that are so full of themselves. I don't want either one of them to win.
I just want Shatner to say something messed up and to kind of look over at him and go, "Oh my."
And I say that as somebody who likes Shatner. I like Shatner, and I like Marlon Brando too as an actor. I think he's fantastic.
He never memorized a thing. He read cue
Nope.
cards. Marlon
He's
Brando.
always reading cue cards.
He claimed I wanted it to be
I'm not
spontaneous.
a big Brando fan. I'm really not. But
Oh, well, if you look at the making of Superman, the movie, the ABC TV special, Warner Brothers put it out on their official channel. Watch Marlon Brando talking about that.
Yeah,
okay,
they show like the cameraman
besides-
having the card like, right over the
you know,
camera.
really, besides playing some fat, nasty guy in a Dr. Monroe movie, I can't really remember nothing else Marlon Brando ever played in.
On the waterfront.
Yeah. One of his last movies, there was like a heist movie.
Godfather.
With Robert De Niro. It was really good.
Oh,
in
The
that.
Godfather. Yeah, I remember that. That was pretty good.
I've heard of that movie. That's pretty good.
I've seen them a lot. They're like movies I've seen maybe in the 70s or something.
You want to talk about bad third
Apocalypse
movies?
Now.
Godfather 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say Apocalypse Now. He's pretty good in that. So.
The Island of Dr. Moreau, the remake.
The score. Thank you, Vim and John. Both got it. The score. I
You
like
telling
that.
me he was in Apocalypse Now, and I don't even remember him being in it. His role was so.
I don't think he remembered being in it. He like made them film him in the dark because he thought it would look better.
Just
Or
like movie where
something.
that guy's walking around in his underwear going, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning."
Robert Duvall. Yeah.
I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody.
I wasn't no fond of that movie either.
But yes, he was an entitled prima donna. Good way of putting it. Absolutely. We still have those.
Doug, may I request you show the back cover of that Superman comic book adaptation?
Sure.
That's just a classic shot of Chris Reeve right there. I love that.
Oh.
Where the hero emerges.
That's when he wins the battle. Yep.
Over evil.
Mhm.
Yeah, good over evil. I love that. And the music was so strong too in that moment by Ken Thorne and John Williams.
And yeah, like we mentioned, that's a great scene. It's probably one of the best scenes
Mhm.
in a Superman movie, and it just happens to be in this one. You know, like,
Talk about an uneven movie, right?
Yeah.
Tug and Damian and Dan, uneven, big time.
Yeah.
it don't matter.
It don't matter whether it's a crappy Superman 3 or a great Superman first movie. As long as Christopher Reeve was playing Superman, that's what was important, because he really was the best Superman
Yeah, he was for sure.
Yeah. of all of them.
No question.
One of the things that really took me back by Chris Reeve around those days was when he did Death Trap and he's kissing Michael Caine on the lips. I thought that just took me back. I'm not
Oh,
against it,
yeah.
but I thought, whoa, that was weird. I all the time. I'm like, oh, here it comes. They're gonna kiss.
But you got to admit, that movie was great because of the twist plot.
Yep.
Mhm.
I actually got lucky enough to see that Death Trap as a stage play.
Wow. Fun fact: Chris Reeve shared the same birthday as Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill. They have the same birthday,
Really?
Okay.
and they
fine.
acted together in one of Chris Reeve's last movies, the remake of Village of the Damned by John Carpenter.
Right.
And he was talking about when I met him in 1994 at Dixie Trek, May of '94. I'm going to reveal on my channel. I have a video I shot of Chris Reeve for my camcorder, and I finally can convert it digitally. I'm going to put that on my channel. If anyone who wants to see it.
Cool.
Oh,
That sounds
definitely
cool.
was.
Yeah.
It was mere months before his terrible accident.
Okay. Well, we're almost at the end of time here. We're almost at the end of time. But I did want to very quickly mention that Chance is going to be on a TV show tonight.
yeah.
Oh.
In the
Grosse
theater to be
Pointe
kind to
Garden
me.
Society.
Yeah. I'm featured in a show on NBC and Peacock. It's called the Grosse Pointe Garden Society, episode 4. And you should see me in the garden scene in the shop. Anyway, thank you, Tug. Thanks for mentioning that. I don't know. Watch it be a big bust. Watch the editor say, hey, this guy's too. They don't like facial hair, and I have facial hair, so we'll see if I make. But they put all the cameras in my face and film this big bit, and we'll see.
Well,
We'll see.
even
I'm
if
with
it's
Ben
for half a
Ratcliffe.
second, I will still be impressed.
Well, thanks. I mean, I'm doing something in the scene. Let's just say with a prop.
Okay.
We'll see how it looks. Hopefully, it was not edited out.
Yeah, I will watch for it.
Thank you, Doug. That was very kind of you to mention that.
Hopefully somebody clips it into a short and puts it up on YouTube.
Yeah. It's not that funny though. I mean, it would have to be funny. I appreciate that, but I don't think it's short worthy. But we'll see. It's not funny.
It's short worthy just because it's you. Do you understand that?
I do, but nobody knows who I am. But thank you.
We do.
How many subscribers you got that know who you are? How many subscribers does Tug have that know who you are? People know who you are, man.
Real quick, I know we're running out of time. One thing I want to say about the crew, they're awesome. And when I went onto the set, they go, everybody, this is Chance Bartels, and everyone. It was so unnerving. I mean, in a good way, but everyone's clapping for me. I'm like I'm winning an Oscar or something before I even did anything. It was like amazing how
That's
kind they
cool.
were. Sorry, true story.
No, that's neat. I
Yeah.
would not have expected that.
I was like, wow, they really rolled out the red carpet. Anyway,
And if you get you some little business cards like Corey's got, you could hand out. Everybody could like check you out on YouTube.
And while I'm plugging other people, Tracy has a live stream tonight because Thrash is MIA. So she will take over Sunday night duties from Thrash.
where's Thrash? What's happened to him? Why
Oh,
didn't he
he's
hear
just he's doing something with family. It's
Okay.
not a big deal. I just said MIA to make it sound dramatic.
I'm glad he's all right.
That fellow right there has some prior commitments this week.
Yes, prior commitments.
Like why I missed your show Friday night, and I hated every minute of missing it, is I had a prior family commitment I had to go deal with. One of them horrible events.
Ah.
What have you
Sorry,
got going on,
happens.
Dan? You got anything going on video wise?
Rest and relax after all these live streams and late nights and that piddly little storm that had me all worried that turned out to be rat piss.
I knew it was gonna be nothing, but I think people in Mississippi got hit, so I don't want to, take away from the
Well,
destruction there. But
It definitely was not nothing
They're all
here. I'll
talking
tell you
about
that.
this
It was
line
not
of
nothing.
storms, and they talking about all these old tornadoes and everything, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be bad. I got all Southern boy worried, and I said I hit it, thundered twice, it lightning 2 or 3 times, and then it did the slowest, leakiest rain you ever saw for 12 hours.
Yeah.
That's why I was late. I couldn't sleep. I was so nervous, and then I
Yeah,
happened
me
to
too.
thank
I
the
was
Lord.
worried about stuff. I want to slap the newsman in the face.
I knew. I had a feeling. I can't say it's a ratings grab because it's good to be informed and be
Oh,
prepared.
they had me out. They had red flag warnings from our area, like we were going to get slammed by tornadoes and stuff.
I live on the Gulf Coast. Unless it's like a Category 4 hurricane, I sleep like a baby. I'm just not worried about it. So.
Well, I slept good
Yeah.
after I went to sleep. I wasn't worried about it either, I don't guess. But I stayed up real late to wait and see what happened,
Yeah.
I was interested. I was going to live stream it when stuff started getting bad.
Ah.
Sorry, I'm dropping links. Give me a second.
And Tug, my Space Giants, Rodak teamed up with the mob in the latest installment on my
Oh
channel.
man, I gotta catch up. I'm like a few behind.
You're gonna love this storyline. It is really good. Nothing.
Oh, here's one. for you.
I plan on doing a binge one of these days.
I never bring up Bigfoot stuff. I make it a point not to. I'm talking about movies and TV and fantasy and stuff. I don't bring up Bigfoot. But last night, after the live stream on Brainbender's banner, about 40 minutes after that, I was sitting out here and I heard these horrible sounds, man, like like King Kong. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I started a video camera and I went down there and I made a video real quick and caught what I could of it. And dude, I have no idea honestly what it was, but it sounded like a monster in my woods. It really did.
You could have been the voice of the Incredible Hulk with that. That was a
I
good.
put the video up
That's
this
good.
morning
I agree.
on the blog if anybody wants to check it out and let me know what animal they think makes that noise. I'll be appreciate it because I put 9-foot Bigfoot on the title of the video. But it's YouTube. That's what you're supposed to do.
Do you know who the voice of the Hulk was? The original voice of the Bill Bixby Hulk? It's Ted Cassidy, the original Lurch and Adams Family. He also narrated.
Oh, really? Oh,
I did know
Yeah.
that. I remember
did
putting
the-
that
he
in one of my videos.
And then he sadly died in early '79, and they replaced him with Charles Napier, who was in the original Star Trek as Adam, the space hippie episode,
Right.
and he was a cop and the cable guy, tons of things. Charles, he was
You know-
Hammer, BJ and the Bear, BJ's nemesis, Trucker.
Well,
Go ahead.
No chance. If you're on a show, dude, you raise the level of that show up
Oh, please.
notches.
No,
man.
you do.
Knowledge for being there because
Stop being
you can-
humble.
You can pretty much answer any question we have about anything on do with nostalgic TV or movies. You're a godsend, man.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate
Any
that.
show I do that I have,
I'm gonna make you
I
big
probably
just
have
because you're
trouble
being
with, I'm gonna say,
modest.
please, Chance, please come and say that. You're like a lifeline on that show.
You like me. You really like me. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And you have the coolest shirt of anybody on the panel today.
Mhm.
I go to
Yes,
New
for
York
sure.
City.
And what we talk about people having superpowers, dude. Everybody's got a superpower. You know, your superpower is that memory and the ability to just remember things that nobody else could.
And I'm super short too. Thank you, though. Seriously. Okay. Enough about me.
See, my superpower
I'll make
is
you small again.
I'm
Right, thank you.
I'm 6'4" and I'm a great big giant like the Hulk, but unfortunately that don't come with a lot of brain power.
No,
Not
you're
like
smart.
Chance, you're the reason I'm doing this stream. Like if I didn't have you around, I probably wouldn't have done this. Like when I thought you weren't gonna be here, I seriously considered canceling the stream. I'm glad I didn't because here you are. So but thank you, Chance. Thank you very much. I knew if I was gonna talk about Superman, I had to have you.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
The
You're
thing
always
about
welcome on my
it,
channel.
it can go any way, no matter what you're talking about. If you're having trouble with the subject, you can call Chance because he's going to know more about it than most people.
I gotta
Yeah.
find more
I'm telling you.
ridiculous story outlines to read because that was a blast. That was so much fun.
Yeah. Brainiac. Who knew, right? It was going to have Brainiac in it.
Brainiac time traveling to an ancient castle and
Yeah.
Mr. Mixie's Piddalik saving the day somehow, and then there's a puzzle out of the street and time, and it's what was that?
And Dudley Moore.
Multiple dimensions and
Bye, John. Yeah, we're about to quit. So
Hey, we got to go, man.
what I loved in that outline where they're talking about Superman and Brainiac in armor fighting like knights. And
yeah,
I was
like,
what
that's the
hell?
climax of your movie,
Yeah.
really?
Seriously.
Right.
Sorry.
Anyway, I do have a video dropping it too. It's just a still version of my Slaughterhouse 5 video because Universal Studios can suck my balls.
You can suck my butt.
But other than that, you have to wait till next week when I will be doing a stream again with Chrissy about the Hellboy movie, and anybody else who wants to watch it can be here. And next week I also have a video dropping on The Illustrated Man with Rod Steiger. It's an interesting one to talk about. So yeah, that's all I got. Until next time.
Your Superman 3 video has a lot of views.
It
what,
does.
30,000?
It's doing really, really well.
30,000? What
Yeah.
last time I saw, or is it
It's
got
pretty close. It's pretty close to
I was
30,000. Yeah.
talking about it to get just as many.
It was well done, and yeah, I like you kept it pithy. 17 minutes or so. That's not too much time for people.
I always try to keep my videos relatively short. And for videos like Superman 3, it's really difficult because there's a lot of information out there. And I get into this mode where I want to say everything. And if I did that, it would be like a 45-minute long video. And that would waste me.
Yeah. And look for Richard Pryor on Johnny Carson talking about wanting to be in Superman. He said so in '78 when the first movie was released, and then
I saw
was
that
a dream
clip.
came true.
I saw that
Yeah.
clip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Good stuff. Bye.
I'm going to hit the button now. Everybody say goodbye.
Happy trails.
Thank you and good night.